So there's been a lot of talk in the news lately about guardianships. Could you tell us maybe a little bit about that?
Sure. Guardianship is a very serious process in the state of Florida because we have a lot of people who are older. We are seeing an increase in guardianships, and guardianship is not something that we like to recommend in most cases. We do a lot of things to avoid guardianship because guardianship is a very rigorous procedure where someone is examined by a medical doctor and two other psychiatric helpers, like a nurse or a psychologist. And they have to go through this process of a court making the determination that they're really unable to manage their own affairs. So we don't like guardianship in particular. We try to avoid it as much as we can, right?
So what are the tools we use to help plan to avoid those kind of guardianship issues?
So the advanced planning is key to avoiding guardianships, and we offer a host of different options, but specifically advanced directives such as powers of attorney, a healthcare surrogate designation, and a living will help to put someone in place to make decisions for you or for the person in advance so that a guardianship is hopefully never necessary.
And sometimes we also use trusts. So if you're someone who has assets that has been placed into a trust, then that trustee could then operate to manage those assets if the need arose. Of course, there are situations where...
So, right, what if someone doesn't plan ahead?
Right. So there are situations, and we often have clients who come to us who say, my mom or dad, has had a stroke or a heart attack, and they're in the hospital, and their bills need to be paid, but they didn't do any planning. And in those situations, a guardianship may be the only option. And so what we'll do in those cases is we go to the courthouse, we file the incapacity proceedings, and we're able to access those assets in order to pay necessary bills. But there is another situation that we're seeing more and more frequently where we're having to do guardianship cases.
And where that planning has not been put in place in advance, and people become vulnerable to financial exploitation, someone taking advantage of them for financial gain. We're seeing a lot of that where it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's lost full capacity, but it's someone who's in a vulnerable position and is being taken advantage of. Often a guardianship is necessary to protect that person if the planning has not been in place.
And still, we do have a new tool in Florida, which is the exploitation injunction statute that just became effective last summer that we've been able to use quite a bit to help people and at the same time avoid that process of guardianship by locking someone's assets down and having the court then very quickly return the assets to the person, the victim from whom those assets have been stolen. So guardianship is a scary process. It's not something that we advocate for, but we do have a lot of elder orphans in Florida as well. And so in those situations with elder orphans, are there things, Scott, that you can think of that we do frequently?
Well, you mentioned trust before, and in advance, the trust planning helps to make sure that someone is there with some oversight and decision-making authority.
What if we need to do a professional guardian, though? What if we don't have family members that need it?
So there are a number of professional guardians in our community that we really trust. They're certified, they're licensed, they're bonded and insured so that the interests of their clients are protected.
And one of the big media exposés about a particular professional guardian who in the state of Florida was able to use loopholes in the statute, the guardianship statute, and was able to do some really bad stuff. We've reviewed what happened, and actually the elder law section of the Florida Bar has been working together with the governor's office and a lot of the legislators to come up with ways to stop those loopholes from being exploited by even professional guardians. So hopefully that process is going to play out through the legislature this year, and we'll be able to address those problems that exist in the guardianship statute currently. So I'm glad we've been able to have this conversation, and I hope our clients out there have a great day, and thank you for watching.